Hello everybody and welcome to episode 3 of the Movie Discussion podcast. I am Mustache Man, link to my channel down below, and I basically just review movies and just, talk about what I like about movies, what I don't necessarily like about certain movies, and stuff like that. So if you do enjoy that type of content, such as like YMS, IHE, Ralph the Movie Maker, Elvis the Alien, etc., then definitely go check that out below. So I forgot to mention that the way that you can interact with me and almost surely get on this podcast, because no one seems to be doing it at the moment, is go to the subreddit Movie Discussion, link below in the description. I will put a Reddit thread on there where you can ask questions and also recommend me films. There will also be the polls for the recommendations down there, even though I have a lot of them already scheduled, but it is still a fun way that you can interact with me. So next up we have the format. So basically I do this intro and then I get into my Blu-ray haul if I have one for that episode, and then I get into my first movie discussion and my second movie discussion, which are all spoiler free, and they are new movies that have come out so that you guys know what to check out. They're usually on streaming services, so if you guys wanted to check them out and give me your opinions on them or something like that, maybe, do that, and gradually see over the course of the year, are movies getting better or worse with time? And then we get into the film recommendation, or the third movie discussion. This is where I take a recommendation from you guys and I go and watch it and I give my opinion on it, and that has spoilers in it. I will give a spoiler warning before we get into them, so don't worry. And then we have the end of the show, where I just say goodbye and all that fun stuff and shout out everything again, because everyone loves when you do that. But without further ado, let's get in my Blu-ray haul. Don't have one. Skipping it. Next up, my first movie discussion. This is going to be Gunpowder Milkshake. This is a new female feminist action film or whatever from Netflix, and it is on Netflix if you want to go see it. It stars Karen Gillan and the girl from My Spy from last year, and it's kind of just, supposed to be this feminist action film, but the main problem with this film is that it, switches around tones a lot. At first it's this badass feminist action film, then it's a buddy comedy between this girl and this kid, and, she's still brutally murdering people, but, she has a kid with her, so she's good or whatever, even though they're all really bad. And then it's about like sisterhood and this kind of like past with her well, it's spoiled in the trailer, so whatever. But with her mom and whatever, and it becomes about, them and a group of characters, just kind of reuniting. And then it's about, reconnecting the daughter with the mom. And that is fine if you have a film that does all those things, but you have to do them simultaneously instead of just picking and choosing certain moments for them, if that makes sense. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy this film, as you could probably tell. It's getting a sequel too, so I'll watch that, but I don't know where it could possibly go. I think actually never mind, the ending kind of set it up a little bit, but not too much. But it doesn't have great action, even though action is definitely the best part of it. It doesn't have great action, and especially the climax of the film. Worst action, like set pieces, it just makes no sense why they're there, and it's kind of out of place a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's terrible. I'd say if you love action movies a lot and just the action dictates your ranking of it, then go check it out. So I'm going to be giving it a 3 out of 10. Next up, we have Space Jam: A New Legacy. And I'm not going to sit here and defend the first one, because I rewatched it so that I could watch this one, because I hadn't seen it in forever. And I didn't even love it all that much. I gave it a 4 out of 10. But while I didn't love it a lot, and while it's not a great movie at all, it is very charismatic, and it is very of its time. Like YMS said, it defined the decade of 1990s, and it's remained relevant up until today. So that's a pretty interesting feat, and that's the only reason we're getting a new Space Jam movie. And, they just kind of took that charisma and fun nature of it all and just, put brand advertisements in and just Warner Brothers advertisements and LeBron James in there. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, LeBron James sucks as an actor or anything, because he's not an actor. He is a basketball player. But I don't know. I don't think he had a great performance at all. I think it was pretty bad. But, you know, you have this kind of sweet story about this father and son and not being like too harsh on your kids and whatever. And then it just drops all that to become a very goofy Looney Tunes Warner Brothers movie. So I don't know if you really can spoil this movie, but the basic plot synopsis is that LeBron James and his son, for whatever reason, his son was invited. They go to the Warner Brothers headquarters. By the way, I might add, there are posters for every single movie that they have coming out this year in there. And they basically go in there, get told this concept for a new, like, I guess it's a kind of movie thing, like LeBron James inserted to all these popular franchises, and Steven Yeun and Sarah Silverman are there for whatever reason. And LeBron literally says to their face, he's like, "This is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. It will not work. Goodbye." And basically his kid is just an idiot, and he gets off at the wrong elevator, and then he just like goes into the Warner Brothers serververse, and then, you know, he gets captured or whatever, and then LeBron has to free them by playing a game of basketball, and Bugs is an idiot and all that. But like, this film is so terrible, guys, and it's not really because it, whether or not, you know, they have these adult references in there, it really is a kid's film. It's not that, you know, complex. It's not trying to be. It's just a simple story, and I'm not saying that kids' films can't be complex, but it's just with this one, they're just trying to push it out to be a simple little story that can get some brand advertisement out of it. And that's exactly what it is. It's a brand advertisement for all these great properties, like, for example, Matrix, Batman, like DC, all the King Kong, Iron Giant. I haven't seen Ready Player One, but just from the trailer, I can already tell you it's the exact same thing in that film. And some people, I forget who it was, but someone in the film community that is really big, said that it was weird because you have all these Warner Brothers characters in this movie that are adult as well, which is really weird. Like, you have Mask back there. I mean, Mask is a kid's film, kind of, but yeah, but a better example is like the gang members from A Clockwork Orange and Pennywise. Like, the gang members from A Clockwork Orange are terrible people. Why show them to kids? And it's kind of lost in who it's targeted for. But anyway, it's just terrible. It's pandering to everyone while also pandering to no one. It is just this enigma of a film. And why were the Looney Tunes even a part of it? It just feels like they were a part of it so that they could just, like, I don't know, say it's a Space Jam movie. I don't know why they didn't just make one big advertisement movie. It probably would have been better. And yeah, I just really did not like this film. Didn't laugh once, wasn't entertaining at all, and probably the worst movie I've seen all year. And I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10. And then there was a film recommendation called Her, directed and written by Spike Jonze, who made other films like Adaptation, Where the Wild Things Are, and Being John Malkovich. I haven't seen any of them yet, but after this I'll definitely check them out, because this is, you know, probably the best film of that last decade. I think that this film is so genius in what it's doing, and it's so good. Like, for example, by the way, spoilers, the whole movie, it's like, if the scene is deceptively happy, then it will be very oversaturated with color and just, you know, visuals. And then, you know, you like get the scene where, for example, Theodore's running around as if Samantha's gone or whatever, which is his robot love interest. Is basically, you know, a guy falls in love with Siri. And so he basically is just like, you know, really not wanting her to go, and he's in this state of panic almost. And the scene starts out with very oversaturated color, and then he just, you know, kind of goes into the rest of the building, and it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And right as he's about to go into a pretty much pitch black tunnel from the one shot that you're seeing, it all of a sudden just comes back to that little middle gray area, and it's like, this is happy, but it's also sad. And stuff like that was really interesting to see. There's a lot of background details, and I didn't realize this as much going in, but this is a sci-fi movie. It's set in the future, and technology is basically running everything. And you have this guy who's just, kind of pretty depressed. He just came off of a divorce, and like, he's really lonely and just not happy with the way that his life is going. And then they come out with the OS, or operating system, and he grows to fall in love with it. And it's kind of sweet, it's kind of creepy, it's kind of depressing, it's kind of sad, it's kind of happy. It's all these things at once. And I think something that really resonated with me was that I could kind of relate to this guy, not as heavy as some of the creepy stuff that he does throughout the film, but I could kind of relate to the sense of like anxiety about falling in love and what that means. And does that mean that, even if you get into a lot of big fights, does that mean that, you're not meant for each other? Or does that mean that you're just having a hiccup and that's general human progression? And it's just so interesting to think about that stuff to me, because I'm very big into philosophy, so it very much interested me. On top of that, you have great cinematography, great music, color palette, as I said before, and just the shot composition of it all. It was so well directed by Spike Jonze. The script was great. Everything about it was really, really great. And this is definitely the best film of 2013. Close runner-up would be The Wolf of Wall Street. But I really did enjoy this film. Joaquin Phoenix gave a great performance. Scarlett Johansson was a great voice performance. Chris Pratt was surprisingly pretty, a nice touch to this film. I'm not saying he's a bad actor or anything. He's just not usually someone who I would say is a sweet little nice touch to a film. He's usually the comedian part of it. But in this, he was very, nice and charismatic. Amy Adams, great as always. She just kind of does what she usually does in this film. And that's fine because it's great. But, I wish this would have won Best Picture. I forget what did win, but whatever it was is 100% not as good as this movie. It is one of the best of, all time. It's one of the best of the decade, if not the best. So I very much recommend that you all go check it out, and thank you guys for recommending me this. And I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go follow my Letterboxd for more movie reviews every single day. Mustache Man, linked below in the description. Channel will also be in the description. Reddit will be in the description. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, bye. So while editing, I realized that I did not tell you guys what the next film recommendation was, and that would be the Lego Movie, directed by Lord and Miller. So yeah, just wanted to mention that quickly. Sorry that it wasn't in the episode. I forgot.